Now, after Jeremy's weather, Monday nights salute the badge. As we look at the retired KBI investigator Larry Thomas, who's sure seen a lot in his 3 decades in law enforcement. He has worked some of the most notorious Kansas criminal cases. As this week, Erica Hall shows us his story in this week's Salute the Badge, brought to you again by DeBackers.
Something they talked about, then you have to stop.
Teaching the next generation the ins and outs of criminal investigation, Larry Thomas's passion for law enforcement started long before the flashy technology that exists today.
It's still the basics, but all the different things you can do to support that prosecuting effort has been intensified, I think, through technology.
Thomas served in almost too many roles to count in both law enforcement and the Army. His biggest role, Assistant Director of Special Operations at the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, where he worked until he retired in 2008. Now he teaches criminal investigation at Washburn University.
He's really cool. He knows everything. Like, it just seems natural to him to talk about it, so it's kind of nice. And then he has actual real-life experiences.
During his 32 years in law enforcement, he investigated some of the state's most infamous crimes, including the arrest of serial killer Dennis Rader, known as B.T.K.
Rader was wanting to communicate directly with police, and in doing so, he sent a floppy disk, which we were able to examine, and that gave us some keys as to who might be responsible for that disk, which led us to him, and then of course he confessed.
I had many, what I call them projects. There were different people in the town that I followed, watched.
You call these projects
Potential hits.
It's a case that's captivated many of his students.
We haven't gotten completely to B.T.K. yet, but he told us that he was one of the first ones to interview him and was stuck in interviewing him for hours and hours straight.
It was 32 hours to be exact.
People said he was dead and gone, and so of course, serial killers have an ego, and he didn't want people thinking he was dead and gone.
Thomas also started the KBI's Cold Case Squad.
It gave me the opportunity to work with a lot of victims and their families that maybe had lost hope that they'd ever get answers, and that really was fulfilling to work with them.
Besides teaching, Thomas also consults investigators nationwide. He's seen a lot of pain over 3 decades, but says it's worth it.
The biggest thing that keeps you going is knowing that you're helping people, that you're giving answers. And I'll never use the word closure, because I don't think you can ever close that hole in the heart, but it gives answers, and sometimes you can get justice for what's happened.
Erica, thank you. As a side note, the new book written by Dennis Rader's daughter is coming out later this month. Larry Thomas works now as a consultant for the National Center for the Missing and Exploited Children, and whenever there's a missing child or Amber Alert in our area, he helps get out the call for help. Melissa?
Important work. Thanks for sharing.